Good morning. So, today I have two topics that I'm going to discuss. And this is going to be a bit of a longer video than my usual ones because they really affected me. And I want to give my viewpoint. Um, so, in North Carolina, in August 22nd, unfortunately, this just came to my attention. Um, a young lady who, in the pictures online, they show as a glamorous shot, but she actually went boarded a train and she had like her hair in a bun, glasses, earbuds, and a phone in her hand. And so she sat down in front of this man with long dreadlocks and just went about her day. He clearly, slowly took out a knife, stood up behind her, and used it. So she looked across the way because she knew what happened. She had put her hand, right? She looked across the way and the passenger beside her ignored her. The man had already exited the train, obviously aware of his guilt. Other people behind her got up and left. The woman got up and left. And of course, she toppled over onto the floor. And eventually, it shows some people came to try to do something, but it was too late. When I heard the background on the gentleman, I'll never say, why did I say that? When I heard the background on the piece of garbage that did it, they focused so much on the fact that he had a disease called schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is treatable by medication if you take it. Some aren't. They're supposed to be recognized by, the authorities or social workers. Anyway, he had 14 prior offenses in many years involving violence, and he went to jail. And he had just been a judge. He called and said that he felt like aliens were inside of him. And so he was charged by the police. Instead of taking him off and incarcerating him, he was charged by the police for a 911 abuse. He went before a judge who was very left, in my opinion. And I think the only option she had was to let him sign. In that state, they can sign a promissory note that they'll appear in court again. Oh my God. Anyway, so he went home. He was causing violence with his mother. She kicked him out. He was homeless. So, which led to him, like a lot of them, it led to him going around and around on the transit because it's comfortable, it's clean, and they can go there on it for, there's no conductor coming down and saying, get off. And unfortunately, they said they had security, but there is a huge vacancy rate, I'd assume because people don't want to get killed. And there was no security on that train. So I was so vicious. vicious that a woman came to the United States to escape war in her country and then working at a pizza shop. Nothing elaborate like they show in the pictures of her glammed up. She did a glam shop. I can do a glam shop. Put on a lot of makeup. Put on a pretty dress, right? But this is the picture they used. I think that it would have been more appropriate to use maybe the mom, and the mom may have wanted her to be remembered in the prettiest way possible, but people automatically might put a connotation that she had a superiority or something like that, but she didn't. Anyway, that was one. And then I came across another atrocity, which was the Charlie Kirk shooting. That happened in recently. I think it was yesterday or the day before. And he is, now I don't know much about Charlie Kirk. I only heard of him when I saw the shooting or online. But I guess I'm not allowed to say that word. YouTube is flagging everything. But anyway, I'll say yes. I don't know. Anyway, I came across it, and he is obviously a very big Republican supporter, and he is very, very, very sadly, this is so ironic, big on gun rights, you know. So, personally, do I agree with his viewpoint? Not a bit. Do I agree with his right to feel it and to say it and to promote it? Totally. That's what North America is about. It's about the ability to say what you want to some degree, as long as it's not hatred, and to not be persecuted for it. But unfortunately, there is a sector, and we all know who they are, but I'm not going to say, but there's a sector that can't tolerate criticism. They can only tolerate their own viewpoint. And so he's gone now. And there was, what made me even more angry was I read that, or saw that there was people in the audience once he was hit, right? There was people in the audience cheering because, of course, he had opponents and proponents, right? It was a big, huge audience. And guess what? Guess how it happened? Remember when Trump had the attempt? Exactly the same blueprint. It was in a high building, about 200 yards away, except this time it hit its mark. Wow. They haven't found the person who did it. They took in a couple of people for obstruction. I guess it was some of the cheering people. I don't know. It didn't really say what they did to be arrested, but yeah, I know it's only two. I know that it's only two out of many, 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 many occurrences that happen in, the United States. But then when I look at my own country, where I live, if you hear of something like that, it's like, what? This doesn't ever happen. What's going on? And everybody is super, super, super surprised because we have gun laws. You can only own a gun to hunt, and it has to be registered, and those big machine guns aren't allowed. And so, yeah, it really made me feel like, what's the word? How did I feel? Like, like, what the hell is happening to this world? That kind of feeling. But anyway, what am I doing? Yeah, today my best good friend Mike, who is married to Katie, and I told him that my curtain is falling off the wall. I don't know if you call the curtain bar that holds it up. The bracket broke, and I can't reach it, and I'm not very good at that stuff. So he's coming over with some tools to stick the curtain bracket back on the wall so I can buy a new pair of curtains at some point. Yeah, that's all right. I'm so glad that I have some people in my life who are kind and considerate and, take the time out of their day to say, yeah, I'll help you put that curtain bracket back on. Yeah, that's nice. Anyway, I hope all of you are well. I don't know if you guys watch body cams, but you know what I thought about those? This is my last in the end. But you know what I figured about them? In the olden times, like in primitive times, when people would sit around campfire and the storyteller would tell a story about like some cautionary tale, I find that body cams these days are exactly the same, and they tell cautionary tales every time. I've learned so much from them about, if I was in a big city or even a little city, what not to do to avoid violence.